I want you to think back on what you were doing, who you were 12 years ago. 12 years ago is how long ago I learned to crochet. I am such a different person to that person 12 years ago. I was working in a very grey corporate kind of environment. I was in the midst of just this huge life change on maternity leave with my first bub, completely sleep deprived. And I thought to myself, you know what I need? More to do. I taught myself from blogs and YouTube. I think what I actually needed was something that I could hold in my hand and be like, I finished this. Look at this cool thing. I needed something that I could put down on the couch and leave for a little while. And I had no responsibility over keeping that thing alive. I could at some point say, I have finished this thing. And I learned very quickly that I was not interested in making clothes or making accessories or blankets. No, I was plushies all the way. They're quicker, they're super cute, fun to gift. I never thought that I was a creative person at all, which is just so different. So let me explain. I was really just doing other people's patterns. So I kind of said to myself, well, that's not really creative because you're just following all of their instructions. That's not creative, right? Doing that let some fun and definitely let some creativity creep into my brain. When I returned to work from maternity leave, we went to this event, and you know when you do those team building kind of icebreakery type of events, this one was one of those, tell us something that nobody knows about yourself. I told people that I had taught myself to crochet and I was making crochet toys. I was clearly really excited about this. The response from my workmates was crickets. You're an adult who plays with toys. So I quickly realized maybe it's not the sort of thing that I really talk about with my work people. But as I kind of continued on making crochet toys, it was becoming more and more a part of who I was. So the very first toy that I ever made was this amigurumi Pac-Man. You can see all of the stuffing, the stitches are so loose. It's pretty hideous. But I love keeping it and looking back over it because it shows just how far I've come. I was in my boring work, daydreaming about yarn and daydreaming in colour and keeping it all to myself. The other thing I was daydreaming about was Australian birds and animals and can I create some Australian birds and animals? And I would go and look for patterns and there were a couple, but hardly any. That's when I really started to think I actually might need to move past creating other people's patterns and start to make my own. That was back in 2019, 5 years ago, where I just went, okay, I'm going to start designing things. I know what I want to kind of create. Something that I was always drawn to in any sort of artistic endeavor were when people were creating eyes on humans, eyes on animals. I'm always drawn to the eyes. The easy thing to do when you're making amigurumi is to use safety eyes. I mean, at that time, felt eyes weren't even a thing. Safety eyes were kind of the go-to, and I always just had this niggling, nervousness because a lot of the time I was gifting those things to kids. Kids hit each other with the toys and they're hard. There's a whole toy safety thing as well, and I was like, what can I do? I kind of explored needle felting. It wasn't quite what I was thinking, and so I started to work on crocheted eyes. There's something about crochet eyes that I think they look super cool and I think it's quite distinctive. It helps them to stand out. I mean, it just changes the whole look of the toys. It also helped that through lockdown, we couldn't go to stores to go and buy safety eyes, and the postal system was basically just cactus. So trying to get safety eyes in to Australia was just a really slow process, and I figured, well, I have all these crochet skills, why wouldn't I put them into creating these eyes, making things look slightly different? I think back on that person from 12 years ago who didn't think they had a creative bone in their body, was super psyched that they'd even taught themselves to crochet, and thinking to themselves, there is no way I will ever design anything to where I am now, where I'm designing, making crochet toys where I'm teaching other people how to crochet. I just feel like, who even was that person? I don't know her anymore. It's so much more fun here. This channel will definitely be a bunch of how-tos, including how to create crochet dies. It will definitely be just absolute yarn nerdery. It will be a little bit of me, but a lot of Australian birds and animals, because let's be honest, Australian birds and animals are the best. And if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. That will kind of be the channel. Like this video if this resonates with you. Subscribe. I'd love to have you along for this YouTube adventure.